And of course, I was afraid back then, but in all those years, I would say 3 to 4 years, I failed so much that the feeling of affraidment is basically gone. So I can't really answer that because I just act and go with the flow. Just so you guys know, I have ADHD, not in an external way, but in an internal way. This means I get stressed internally really quickly, especially if I work on something lots of time and I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And X was the exact right place for me because I put something out there within seconds and I get results within seconds. I can know getting clear on yourself. What do you actually want to impact in this economy? Because everyone is just chasing quick results. People don't want to know the how. When did you read a piece of content the last time where somebody taught you the how and then you actually acted on it? It doesn't stick with your brain. So you have to tell the people the what and why behind it. That's what makes the difference. People have to understand why they should do something, and that's the difference to grow.
Michael, what is one thing that you would do if you wouldn't be afraid?
Good question. But I would say there is nothing I'm afraid of because in the past few years, especially in my school time and in my 9 to 5 time, I've tried so many different side hustles and I've basically failed all the time. And of course, had, I was afraid back then, but in all those years, I would say 3 to 4 years, I failed so much that the feeling of affraidment is basically gone. So I can't really answer that because I just act and go with the flow.
Nice, nice. So you mentioned 3 to 4 years in school and 9 to 5 where you tried side hustles. Can you maybe name a few to get like a direction of what you did?
Yes. So first of all, in my school time, I did a 5 year mechanical engineering school. And in the first few years, in the first 2, 3 years, I didn't really do anything. I was interested in it, but I never really acted on it. And then, funny enough, I turned my more or less gaming addiction into my first side hustle because I tried to resell and trade in-game skins. And this is where I first got introduced to making money online. And then I would say the next thing was video editing, video freelancing. I still do it because it's making good money, but it takes up a lot of time. And I knew this isn't scalable, so I tried to find something new. So I got into YouTube Shorts. I grew a channel to 66K subscribers. But again, I realized this isn't something I want to do. So I tried to switch again. I tried Amazon KDP. It's basically selling books on Amazon. And this is where I first got introduced to writing. And to be completely fair, I kind of fell down on it because I was too lazy to write all the books. So I kind of threw it on the side. And then I had like a few months of don't doing anything. And at the beginning of 2025, I decided to try something completely new. And I thought of, okay, what do I know? And then I thought of X. X is a good platform for business, so let's try it. And this is how I got into X.
Very, very interesting, especially the gaming thing, because I used to be like a gamer for a lot of years, but now I also kind of threw it away. But very interesting points. And what made you like decide to go all in on X?
First of all, I liked the quick feedback. Just so you guys know, I have ADHD, not in an external way, but in an internal way. This means I get stressed internally really quickly, especially if I work on something lots of time and I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And X was the exact right place for me because I put something out there within seconds and I get results within seconds. I can know, okay, this worked, this didn't work within minutes, within hours. And this was the main part why I wanted to go all in on X because it helped me to quickly make progress. Because if I find something I want to work on, I work on it. I go all in on it. And if I see results, I don't see results, I adjust. And this is why X was the right place for me.
So instant feedback also meant that you get a lot of clarity very fast. So can you tell me a little bit more about this clarity angle in your whole brand?
So in the beginning, when I started out on X, I always felt like there's something missing. I always felt like I was left in the dark because, everyone talks about the same things. Everyone spams platitudes. It sounds nice. It's shiny. It's fancy. And I followed these advices and I followed these X rules, and it never really took off. So I always felt like, okay, there's something nobody talks about or nobody knows. And after I got more into the game, after I got more to know everything, I knew, okay, clarity is my thing, because I always seek clarity and now I want to provide clarity.
Okay, very interesting that something like you discovered or you wanted is now like this main pillar of your brand. Kind of like
Yes.
the focus thing for me. So I was very distracted in the early time and until May, I would say. And then I discovered, okay, focus is such an important thing. So I worked on it day in, day out for like 1 month, and then it like took off. But yeah, you want to provide clarity. That's one thing I noticed. How do you want to provide it? So what are your brand pillars, or can you tell me a little bit more about each part of this clarity thing?
Of course. So in the past, and especially in the beginning, the first few months, I myself was what we call in the economy a guru. So we basically spread basic generic advice, basic insights, fancy insights. We basically complexify everything so it sounds fancy, so we can package it in our own way and sell it this way. And over the time, I have signed a few clients this way, but I struggled to scale. I struggled to build a real brand. I was a brand that was based on metrics, on likes. And at one day, I realized, okay, this is not how it will work out. And then I knew I had to switch. I knew I had to provide clarity, because everyone talks about the same things. Everyone says, just be more consistent, just provide more value. But when one was the last time that you read just provide more value and you actually knew what that means? Or position yourself. You have to position yourself in a unique way. What is unique? I always spread these kind of messages, but I didn't really know what I was saying right there, just as 99% of the game. And then I knew, okay, this has to change because it didn't work out. And everyone acts like they have figured it out. They say like, yeah, you have to do X, Y, Z in order to succeed on X. But clearly now, out of my current standpoint, I can instantly tell they don't have anything figured out. I can look at their brand and tell, okay, they don't know anything about the game. They just try to sound fancy.
So like wording or how you frame like your thoughts. So would you say that these people who are gurus or are acting like gurus, that they don't know anything or that they just don't know how to package their knowledge?
They do know stuff, but most likely only the basic and generic stuff. And they try to sound fancy and complexify everything so it sounds like, okay, let's say you have to be unique. And they come up with some random framework and slap a fancy name on it, and then they think they're unique. But what makes you actually unique is yourself, your personality, and everything. And they just post generic platitudes. They post generic advice. And that way I know, okay, you are not unique. You don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very interesting. So let's just say I'm like a guru and now want to like create my unique angle or want to share my unique self. How would you say is the first thing I should really work on?
getting clear on yourself. What do you actually want to impact in this economy? Because everyone is just chasing quick results. They think like, okay, I want to make money. And of course, all of us, we want to make money. And that's also the end goal at the end of the day, make impact and make money of it. But money alone, the focus on money alone won't get you anywhere, because then you don't really think about yourself. Okay, how do I even get there? And most of the people think, okay, I just got to be consistent and do what everyone else does, because clearly it works, right? You get likes, you get the views, you get the follows. So it must be the right way, right? And that's where most people go wrong. It's not about the numbers. It's more about people seeing your content and feeling like, okay, this guy is different. There's not really an explanation to it, but people can feel it when you're selling to them or genuinely there to make an impact.
So now that I got clear on myself, what would you say is like the next step? The next step to being a more authentic self or selling my authentic self?
You have to get clear on who you want to reach, who you want to help. Because if you try to help the wrong person, you won't succeed, even if you're as authentic as you can. So you have to be clear on who you are and who is the person you want to help. After that, it's basically good to go, and you can directly start with the implementation and scaling.
So now we are at like the point who to sell. So is there like a group of people I should target more, or is that like very individual? So let's just say, is it better if I target like executives or people who already achieved something, or should I focus more on like beginners, or is there like a sweet spot in between?
Depending on what you want to do. If you want to just have an impact and help people, you can help anyone. But obviously, all of us want to make money at some point, right? So, of course, you should not focus students, because students most likely don't have any money. I say it this way now because that's what everyone thinks. Nobody talks about it because everyone is afraid about it, and that's the gurus. They try to sell you a dream, a fancy world that isn't there. But all of us are here at the end of the day to make money of it and have an impact. If you're just there for the money, again, you're a guru. If you're there to make money and make an impact, you're a creator. So target people who have money. And yes, there are certain groups that are better to target than others, but this is completely individual on what you're trying to do and what your service is.
Okay, so how can I like find these people? So is there like a question I should ask myself to find these people, or is there like a framework, a way, or a strategy to find these people?
Yes, so there's a framework to it. Of course, every creator does it in a different way because there are different ways. I myself, I have a whole document with questions I answer and work through. And based on that, you will know how to target them. And based on that, you will know how and what to write your content about.
Very interesting. So if you just had to say or ask like one question to like the listener, which question would you tell them?
Okay. I mean, always, what do they think is the problem, but isn't actually the problem? That's one question.
So like the rest is probably in the document, so that's amazing. But this question alone has like such an impact because most of the people that or are like gurus, they try to sell you a problem that isn't really there. So yeah, very good question.
Exactly.
Getting clear on myself, who I should help, what would you say is the next step?
Implementation. So after you know who you are, who you want to help, nothing is holding you back from starting, right? And also another thing I noticed, people try to sell overcomplicated frameworks and structures on how to start monetizing on X. It's really simple. You just have to know who you are, who to help, and then it's directly to the implementation. After you know how to write content, it doesn't matter how much followers you have. You don't need thousands of followers. You can have a few hundred followers and make a good living out of X. Once you know how to write the right content, you're ready to go.
So content seems like one of the like main pillars to like convert at the end or make an impact. So can we go through like your content creation process or talk about content in general first? So what would you say makes good content?
Good content is when people think, first of all, you're chill and funny, because that's the personal aspect. And second of all, when people resonate with you. So people read your content and they feel like just by reading your content, they already have improved.
So now, okay, so there's like guru advice that tries to sell like quick solutions. So what differentiates the content you now set to the guru thing?
Okay, so another thing that a lot of people get wrong, they try to sell the how. People don't want to know the how. When did you read a piece of content the last time where somebody taught you the how and then you actually acted on it? It doesn't stick with your brain. So you have to tell the people the what and why behind it. That's what makes the difference. People have to understand why they should do something, and that's the difference to guru content. Gurus tell you, work smarter, not harder. That's it. They don't tell you why or what is the reason behind it. And I'm telling you, you have to do XYZ in order to reach XYZ. And here's the why.
Very powerful, because most of our attention span is like so narrow that even if we are like reading the how, we just like, okay, now I have the information, but actually having the motivation and having the fuel to just act on it is like most of the times very vague, and the what and why is like, I think there's a lot more emotion behind it. So the how is
Yes,
more logical, the what
yes,
and why is very emotional. So I guess
yes.
that's the point why.
That's the point behind it. It's directly connected to stories and emotions, and stories and emotions stick with brains way better. You probably remember the childhood books your mom read to you when you were a child, even though
Mhm.
it's 15 plus years ago, and you don't know what your teacher told you a few months ago.
So if we have like a emotional connection behind something, we automatically like stick to it and have a deeper connection to it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay. I have like a quick question that I sadly forget to ask, but let's just say, okay, the steps are or the steps you just said, the steps, getting clear on myself, who I should help, and then content or the implementation.
yes.
So should I really do that in that order? Should I first think a lot about getting clear on myself? So or could I do like create content while doing the above?
Yes, of course. If you
Mm-hmm.
know what you're doing and why you're doing it, you have to create content about it. Because at the end of the day, I've learned that from a different creator. Your journey is a Netflix series, and you need to have goals, you need to have enemies, you need to have everything in order for it to stay catchy, in order for
Mm-hmm.
people to buy into it. And if you don't share what you're trying to do, who you're trying to help, how you do it, how you fail, then people won't buy into it because it's boring. You always say like work smarter, not harder. You have to be consistent. You have to do XYZ. There's no substance behind it. It's boring. So you have to talk about what you're trying to do. And this obviously shifts after some time, and that's totally fine. That's how it should be.
Okay. So now, so a lot of things you said are like connected to being human. So what do you think is missing in our X economy so that we can be more human?
The right environment. Everyone is fake. Everyone is doing what everyone else is doing. So I like to call them sheeples, sheep people. They do what everyone else is doing. And sadly, majority of X is guru economy. And this doesn't allow people to have a clear vision on everything. They just do what everyone else is doing. And therefore, most of X is also not being personal, not branding the right way, and therefore all the other people are just following it.
So you called them cheaples, which I find really funny. But you said that everyone is like trying to selling the same stuff. Would you say that there's like an emotion behind it? Do people really think that quick money is the thing, so they all try the same?
In reality, everyone knows, or at least I think majority knows deep down, this isn't the right way. They know it's off. It doesn't feel right because it was the same for me and it was the same for everyone I talked to this deep. They knew this isn't the right way, but everyone did it and everyone pretends to have success with it. And therefore, I think it connects a deep connection to your emotion that you should try it. Otherwise, you might fail, and this connects it to fear of failing. And people don't want to fail, so they try what everyone else is doing. And since everyone else is acting like they succeed with it, other people try to do it too.
Okay, so let's just say I'm a creator. I have like 300 or 500 followers, and I tried the guru advice. So I tried the personal branding strategist, and now I come to you. How would you go through me to get to the destination?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to know, what are your goals? What are the problems? What have you tried? How you have tried it? So we go really in depth together into your brand, because a lot of people think there's one straight framework to solve XYZ problem, but that's simply a lie. Every brand is individual. Every brand is a one of a kind. So every brand also needs one of a kind treatment.
So you would like go with me through my content, through what like my goals are or who I really am. So what would be the next step?
So after we have went through everything together, so I know it's basically the same way as if it is my own business, then I would give you a tailored step-by-step roadmap. So I will tell you, okay, first of all, to get results as fast as possible, do this, this, this. So we would do the basic optimizations, such as profile optimization and basic stuff like this, right off the bat. And then I would give you certain things to focus on and to work on and to work out. And we would go one-to-one tailored through this. After we have nailed all of this, we would directly start with the implementation, so we don't waste any time and get you to your destination as soon as possible.
A lot of interaction between like the client and you, so that's
Yes.
amazing. I would now kind of like to do a quick practice. So you probably know my brand a little bit. I'm focusing on phone addiction, helping people to beat their phone addiction with unusual methods, or like I try to break the belief that this Reels or Instagram Reels advice works and try to go deeper with them. So now I come to you. I have like, let's just say, I already served 3 clients. I have almost 300 followers. Now I come to you and let's just go through the points together. So the first thing is analyze my brand with me. So how would this broadly look like for me?
So for you, first of all, again, I would walk through it with you, getting to know what your plans are, what is your offer, how have you tried it in the past. It's really important for me to know what you have already tried, especially in a market I haven't been in yet. For example, phone addictions, I haven't ever worked with someone who is having this specific kind of a problem. So I would have to know what have you already tried. Based on that, we will plan the further steps, what to do, the future action steps, the content plan. We would really nail down your ICP because it's really specific. We would have to know, okay, would you rather based on your offer, target older people, young people, students, CEOs who maybe just want to really optimize every minute of their life. And after that, we would talk about, okay, how to nail that in your content.
So you already said like a few frameworks I could use. So for me, in that case, it would be, okay, I have my broad offer, or I have like a specific offer I'm now working on. There's like a market of a lot of like fluff or guru advice out there. So I would be like the one who says them, okay, this is BS. Try this instead. My ICP also is like very specific right now, and I try to keep it not hidden, but I always say that I target more like the coaches and executives so they can teach it to the people below them. And since content is such a big thing, that's a problem. So you said like you're not really into this phone addiction thing, but there's probably like a few frameworks that you could tell the listener to write content about not really anything, but since we're like in the self-improvement stuff, or not self-improvement, but generally growing as a person and building something. So content. How would I write like content that takes the old belief from someone and redirects it to the new belief I have?
Okay, so first of all, there are frameworks, if you want to call it like that, that just work for everyone. What this looks like is if you have a certain belief also about the offer after we have created the offer together. I also do that because people have offers, but there's a certain framework, certain approach to everything. After that is nailed down, we would start really injecting your beliefs in your content and therefore in your reader's mind. How do you do that? Is you talk about your beliefs, your enemies, or your experience, and talk about it as one of a kind, because it is one of a kind. We would really have to find a way that makes you and your approach unique, and then inject it in your content, and therefore people will know, okay, this guy is doing something nobody else is doing, and he's doing it so good, nobody else can copy it.
So this one of a kind thing kind of sticked out to me. So it seems like now I'm like assuming your mission. Mission seems like that you want at the end an economy with everyone selling like their unique solutions to something, which is kind of where this whole economy is kind of growing into. But how would you describe your mission?
My mission? Okay, so I want to create an economy where, first of all, everyone shows what makes them unique. Currently, everyone is spamming the same thing. Nobody is truly unique as everyone else. And I want to create economy where people, first of all, embrace this, and the guru approach and the platitude approach becomes the new flop.
So you want to like break this old belief and create like an economy where everyone starts to be themselves and act like their true self. And finally, Julian was like my first ever guest on here. And he was one of the guys who kind of got me into this whole being unique, selling my own stuff. I don't really want to talk about Julian with another person, but I think that he is one of the people in this economy who is truly representing that. Would you agree on that?
Yes, Julian is the perfect example.
So what would you say should people who are not really unique, or what can they learn from people like Julian?
Standing to themselves, no matter what the current economy looks like.
Very,
So
very interesting.
people, again, sheeples, do what everyone else is doing because it seems to work. And they have their own goals. They have their own unique goals. Is it they want to spend more time with the family? Is it they want to just make money or whatever it is? They have to chase their goals on their own approach, their own unique way.
There are a lot of similarities to like your approach. So your approach is also very unique and very tailored to you, which is very impressive. And we will talk about your whole journey later on. But it seems like this whole mission you have some pillars to it. And I already like think I got a few, but can you once again name all your pillars that make your brand so unique and so
Okay, of course, there are many different brand pillars, but I would say the main ones and the ones I currently represent the most is, first of all, don't complexify to sound professional. Rather find your own approach, what makes you professional. Everyone is fake out here, and that's also why it happens that people say DMs are dry. Everyone has the same approach. Everyone tries to be professional and the cold businessman because formal is apparently the only way to make money. It isn't. It's through being personal. The second one is stop gatekeeping to build demand. Genuinely serve people. The best clients I have signed were the people I genuinely build a connection with. And those are also the people you want to work with, because those are the people who respect it and they also want to work with you because they know how you work, they know how you do it. And which ends up in an economy where everyone has their sales guard up and not letting anyone to their true self. Then the fourth one is the delusion bubble. Everyone is acting like they have figured it out. Everyone is saying do this and this to achieve XYZ. But in reality, only a few people actually know what they're talking about.
Very, very deep points sometimes. And I would kind of love to go through all of them. So not complexifying. We talked a little bit about it, or we talked a lot about it before. So this pillar is like already covered with the rest of the talk. But stop gatekeeping. This is like one of the points. And it kind of reminds me of what Alex Hormozi once said, that you should give away all your knowledge for free, but the application, this is what you should really sell. So can you go a little bit more? So stop gatekeeping. Should you have like a more open approach, like Julian, for example, where you just serve people and help people?
Yes. So you should genuinely start helping people. Obviously, if you know that somebody is not respecting it or isn't treating it right with the right respect, then don't serve them. Don't sell yourself for someone who isn't genuinely acknowledging you for that. But if there's somebody who you can truly help, because a lot of people say, I want to have an impact. I want to make a change in this economy. Do you need money for that? No. If you truly want to help someone, then just help. Then go out there, help people, serve them. And if they want to work with you, which most of them will if you genuinely help them, then it will happen.
Very, very interesting. And then you created like a connection between that and DMs. So DMs is like a whole new thing, and it seems like everyone has their own approach, but at the same time, there's like a huge chunk of people who just try the same thing over and over again. And I noticed this myself, so I used to like cold DM people a lot, not because I wanted to sell them something, but just to generally talk. This was at the beginning such a huge problem for me because I was like connecting with no one. But then I slowly got into warm DMs and truly wanting to build connections. And ever since I did that, since like April or May, things started to skyrocket. I met one of or most of the amazing people and people who I am today are the people I met on X. So that's truly, truly special. And how would you say I wouldn't say it's the difference between cold DM and warm DM because this is like also you making a framework. But what would you say is a good approach to DMing someone?
Just warm DM people you genuinely think are cool, you want to network with more, and therefore this whole fake DM scenario will probably die soon.
Okay, so this is like also one of the points that made me succeed in DM so much more, just being myself, telling whatever is on my mind to these people, and genuinely what I can say is that it changed my life in so many ways. So now to the friendship point that you mentioned, how would you say or DMs are like the first step in becoming like friends on this platform, but how would you describe friendship in general on X? Is it like more I give you and you give it back? Or is it more, okay, I'm open to help you with this and that, and we're just cool, we are vibing?
I wouldn't say there's a clear explanation on that because everyone is considering friendship as something different. I see friendship as something different as you do. And I would say building networks is a better term because at the end of the day, you won't genuinely be friends with most of the people you DM. I have DM'd hundreds of people, hundreds over hundreds of people. And I've met lots of cool guys. I've met lots of cool guys. I even now still DM after all these months. But there are also people I just vibed with. We said, okay, let's support each other if we need each other. And that wasn't a lie. But it's not more than that. It's a great connection to have, but don't see it as making friends. Rather see it as making genuine connections.
Okay, so now the last point, delusion. So you said that only a handful of people truly know what they're saying. Isn't that kind of like a misconception to this whole unique thing? So if we say that everyone should be unique, isn't that, or doesn't that mean that everyone also knows exactly what they should say?
If they would be truly unique, yes, everyone would
Okay.
know. If they would be unique, everyone would know what they are doing. And then this statement wouldn't make sense anymore. But since everyone is pretending, they are selling you a delusion bubble. They act like they are knowing something, and maybe they even think they know something. But I tell you, if you not ask 10 people, what does being unique mean? 9 of those people will give you some vague answer.
So let's just say I'm asking the one right person, in this case you. How would you describe being unique?
Going everything about your approach, making the method how you succeeded your unique approach. So for me, it would be I have worked my ass off 24/7 trying the guru approach. I was leaving everything behind. Everything around me was going to nowhere. And with my brand, I also didn't really reach anything besides a few clients and a good amount of followers. And then I knew this can't continue like this. I knew something has to change. My real life basically died off. I only lived for X. And then I created my own approach on how I can live and build my brand. And that method is my unique approach to branding.
So your journey, we talked a little bit about it before, but now I want to go really deep on it because it's very fascinating how you turned like this 9 to 5, like you said, which used to be like, I wouldn't say a cage, but you were like in this 9 to 5 every single day to becoming a full creator in like 55 days. I just want you to describe this whole journey in 3 words.
I mean, first of all, it wasn't 55 days.
Wasn't it
Took a
55
little bit
days?
longer. No, it was 0 to 1K followers in 55 days.
Yet
Um,
I saw like 55 days, and I would generally say that it was like 5 months since I saw like your
yes,
first post. And so, yeah, then let's just say 5 months. So, how would you
5 months.
describe this last 5 months in 3 words?
Lots of back,
That's okay. Let's do bullet points.
staying true to yourself, acting on your gut.
I really like the last one because it has a lot of like feelings behind it.
Yes.
And I would say that having such a difference in your life also meant that you had a lot of emotional change throughout the way. So, how would you say does the Michael before these like 5 months looks compared to the Michael now? Emotionally, lifestyle wise,
Fearful,
it doesn't have to be like
not,
it doesn't have to be like
does,
words. You just this
okay,
was
okay, okay.
like to
Okay,
get
okay.
started.
Okay, 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 okay. So I would say fearful, lots of uncertainty, and that's basically it. Uncertainty and fearful.
And how would you?
Fearful in a way that I fear that I fail again.
Yeah, I had similar thoughts at the beginning because before all of this act thing, I tried to create like an AI business without truly knowing what the thing behind it is and how it works. But I saw like a video on YouTube and said like, okay, I have to try the same. And it was like creating a GPT for like famous people, and I just did something that made sense on paper but executed in a totally wrong way. And at the end it just all fell together, and I had like, I would say, 4 months of not knowing what to do at all. And then I also got into X. I've also followed like this guru advice until I then, like I said, in May, find my real self approach. And after that, everything kind of worked out. But yeah, how would you describe the Michael now? You said like you're now fearless from the introduction question, but what would you say are other, I wouldn't say character traits, but how would you describe the Michael now compared to like the one before?
I'm definitely way more clear and confident in what I'm doing because I have found my true way of what I want to do and how I want to do it. So way more certain and clear and way more fulfilled because knowing what I want to do and knowing how to do it and knowing and seeing how it changes other lives is just truly fulfilling.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, I'm talking a lot about my own journey because I see some similarities because since foundation is like one of the things that a lot of people have so deep inside themselves. And since I'm working like with my first client since a few weeks and seeing how she already improved in some ways and getting like voice messages saying, okay, it felt amazing to not be distracted. I can generally agree that if you are doing truly what's unique to you and you want to do from the inner self, then you will feel a lot of fulfillment. So I can totally agree on that point, and I can say that hopefully a lot more creators can feel the same. And I hope that this talk, or generally the work you produce, helps a lot of people. So keep going.
Appreciate
Now I want to talk a little bit more about the lessons throughout the ways. We already talked about your lessons from the stuff you tried before, but throughout this journey, what are like a few main lessons you learned that can help anyone who is starting out or who is getting like no real results or doesn't really have an impact? What would be a few lessons?
First of all, experiment. And even if you find something that's giving you reassurance in forms of likes, views, nice comments, don't let your ego come in the way of telling you you're on the right path. Because that was my problem. I got reassurance from nice comments, likes, views, and I thought I'm going to be the next Stan Cole here. And I realized it wasn't because I sat here, I stick to this one plan, which this itself isn't bad, but you have to be open to experiment because once your ego gets in the way, it's basically over because then you just focus on one thing, and even if it's the wrong thing, you will never realize it because you're not open to experiment. And if you experiment, you maybe find something else that's working way better. see, okay, suddenly you get inbound, suddenly you sign your first 2 clients, and then you know, okay, this old approach wasn't even what I was truly should do.
So experimenting, this is like now, okay, I stop talking about my journey, but how would you say experimenting on X looks in general? Because I could like walk from personal brand specialist to content specialist. So
Yes.
should we or should I try? So let's say I want to experiment. Should I like stay in this bubble and try out different things, or should I go over the board and do what truly fulfills me as a person?
You have to go outside of the bubble to truly find what's making you unique. The top creators, we all know them, Audrey, Sean, Ben, they're not here because they've mastered something inside of the X bubble. They have took something outside of the X bubble, brought it into the bubble, became so good at it that everyone knows them for it and nobody can copy it from them. So you have to go outside of the bubble and find something.
Okay, this reminds me of one of the quotes I heard a while ago. I think it was Andrew Huberman, but I'm not really sure. He said like your craft or the thing you are doing should be so far away as possible from the place you distribute it. And I think that this summarizes what we just said so well. So lessons are most of the times tied to like mistakes. So I would like to ask for like maybe 2 mistakes you made and then solved that did the most impact to your life, to you as a person, to your brand.
Okay, so first to my brand is stop faking professionalism. At the beginning, I always felt like, okay, you gotta act professional. You have to be professional. Don't show everything of your personality. Kind of gatekeep yourself, hide yourself. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I could have ever done. And this is probably something that have cost me huge amount of progress, huge amount of genuine followers, and also probably here or there a client. To my life, one mistake I would say is overthinking. I overthought everything what I was doing regarding my business and how it will impact me as a human, where I will end up and everything. And at the end of the day, just try it out. What is the worst case scenario? This has helped me immensely. If you don't know what to do and what to think right now because you're overwhelmed or whatever, ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario right now?
I think that's a very important question because I also saw this in my life. I was like doing something and I was so feared of doing the next step that I don't really know what would happen if I didn't make the step. So yeah, this question you just asked also helped me a lot throughout my journey. But to stop faking professionalism, I noticed that you try to like share a lot more your face on X recently, and this is like amazing. And I instantly thought about like this duck video from you where this one duck chased you. And I think that we need a lot of more of this like out of the box stuff on X because it became so centered around being fake, trying to be professional that this whole creative thing kind of is drained away or isn't really that present
Yes,
anymore. So
it's not a creator economy anymore.
Mhm.
It's a guru economy.
That's a huge problem, and thankfully there are people like you, people like Julian, who try to push it further. So amazing.
Appreciate that.
Now I kind of want to talk a little bit more about the future of this creator economy. So you said like, okay, if we don't do anything, we are going into a guru economy.
Yes.
So how would you say this whole maybe even AI thing will impact this creator economy as a whole?
The A
Yes, because I would say that AI is one of the things, okay, if you don't use it correctly, it kind of becomes like a thing that is the source of being fake. So
yes.
we don't really have to talk
Yes.
about AI specifically, but
No, no, no.
generally the future of the creator economy.
I will name it. Let's talk first about the AI. So I would recommend everyone to use AI because it's just, it's really, really simplifies so many tasks. And once you're at a certain point of branding. There are so many things you have to do, and leveraging AI in every possible way you should, one second, you should leverage it, you should do it, but don't use it to build your brand. If you build your brand on AI, I don't even have to explain it, right? Use it for certain actions, but never ever use it for anything about your personal space, your branding. For example, writing content. It doesn't make sense. We are here to build a personal brand. So why would you use an AI, a robot who doesn't have any emotions, doesn't have any feelings to do that for you? Yes, you can use it to write content in a way of getting ideas, but never use it of doing it for you. Use it in a way doing it with you. And what was the next thing again?
The creator
The creator
economy.
economy. The creator economy. So where I see the creator economy. So first of all, to get things clear, is the personal branding economy is currently one of the fastest growing markets. And lots of people say, I mean, not lots of people, but I have heard a lot of people say it's saturated. It doesn't make sense to build a personal brand. There are already so many brands. Yes, it's true, but 89% of those brands aren't brands. Those are just people who are guessworking. They don't really know what they're doing. Back again, they're acting like they know something. So in reality, once you know, you don't even have to be a pro at it, but once you actually know what you're doing and how to do it, the market is an open market. It's no way it's saturated because so many people just act rather than actually know. And where I see the market in the future is now it is growing. People are guessworking. People are trying to get behind things. There are people who are genuinely trying and experimenting. And those people will rise. And I think it's not far in the future that those people will rise. And at a certain point, it will become much more difficult to establish yourself in this economy because people are getting behind it. They find more genuine metas. This is what you call it in the gaming world. And at this point, it is still possible, but it will be much more difficult to establish yourself in this economy than it is right now.
Yeah, because I sometimes see like people saying, okay, we are already so far behind. There were like the dance, I don't know, whoever who already did what we're doing. But I think that, like you said, if you genuinely can solidify what you're doing and your messaging, I think that the only limit you have is genuinely the sky. And this, I think, is a great way to end this podcast. It was a huge pleasure to talk to you, Michael, and hopefully we will see a lot of more of your face on X. Maybe even another duck video.
Of course. You will much more. I have already scheduled so much content with my face, so no worries about that.
Amazing. It was my pleasure, and thank you.
Thank you too.